In this video, I'm going to be comparing the linear silent alpaca switches with Zeal Rosalio switches, Gateron Silent Ink, and Gateron Silent Black switches. In the top row is the silent alpaca switch, the Zeal Rosalio switch. In the second row, third row is Gateron Silent Ink, and fourth row, the Gateron Silent Black. I've got 3 columns set up here with some variations so you can hear the difference between stock and modified switches. On the leftmost side is just a stock switch, no extra lube, stock springs, everything else is just default. In the second row, I've replaced the springs in each switch with a TX 65 grams spring just for equal comparison. The springs are lubed with the TX oil, and the switch itself is lubed with 3204. And lastly, I have the stock spring, but the switch again is lubed with 3204 and the spring lubed with the TX oil. So starting with the stock switches here, I'm just going to go down each column, and that way you can hear how they are all compared. So that's the silent alpaca. Next we have Rosalios. Followed by Gateron Silent Ink. And the Gateron Silent Blacks. Next is the switches lubed with the same TX 65 gram spring. And lastly, the stock switch lubed and the spring lubed with the TX oil. So in the first segment of the video, you may have noticed that the alpaca switches didn't sound scratchy, but something sounded kind of loose, or there's a lot of play to the switch. So I wanted to try the switch with TX switch films. Films are something that can help to reduce the amount of movement in the switch housing. And you just put them in between the top and bottom housing and snap the switch back together. You kind of see the film here. I have put the switch film in the alpaca switches just to show how big of a difference it can make when they have the switch films in place. They go from, in my opinion, a kind of bad switch to an amazing switch. It feels really good, and the sound is really great as well. So just for comparison again here, this is the switch with the stock spring, lubed with 3204, and the spring is lubed with the TX oil. So here is the alpaca with the switch film. the Rosalios, the Silent Ink, and the Gateron Black. The Alpaca switch is incredibly smooth, and with the switch film in place, the housing becomes just that much tighter, reduces a lot of that noise and extra play that you could feel when pushing on the switch.